you should have done could have caused that problem. And it's something that we do a lot. We're told that we're supposed to, if brother sins, go to him as brother. Not somebody to lord it over them, not somebody to punish them, to go to him as brother. And, me, for the longest time in my life, I treated that like my interactions with my brother, which was, that guy needs a good smack on the head before he'll see sins, kind of thing. It's not exactly the way to go about that, Christian-wise. You can't just go around browbeating people into submission, expecting them to get the point. You can't take it like that, and you can't deliver it like that. But of course, that was all I ever really realized and known, and didn't see. And me personally, it made perfect sense. This guy does something, it's irritating something, it's trouble that needs to be wiped out, it makes me mad, I just go, hand it to him, give it to him. Yes?
It's always been pointed out about Abigail, the attitude that she took, the humility that she had. If Nabal was this wealthy man and she was the wife, she was in good standing, you might say, financially, and you would think she would be in that same kind of, they traveled in the same circles, so look who I am, and I'm this and I'm that. It's like she had a perception of, she was full of common sense, and she looked at the situation, she summed it up perfectly. Hey, this is what's going to happen, and when you're going against these people who have. They're mad. They're out for blood. And the way that she approaches them and the carefulness that she has, and I think that teaches us something about how we should deal with one another. Is some people are more given to anger or ego or whatever, but it doesn't matter. If you kind of know where they're coming from, sometimes you got to be the one to be humble and, almost like, even though you haven't done any wrong, you've got to be willing to put yourself out there to try to make peace. And she shows us that there's a way it can be done if we have the right attitude.
Mm-hmm. And see, there's the other thing, which it shows, of course, obviously, they've all died a few days later after you heard all the things that had happened. The Lord obviously did pass the judgment on him, but you think about Abigail and you wonder, nowadays people, if the husband's bad and the woman's with him after so long, then it kind of becomes obvious that she's, in general, she's not all that great to begin with either, because they have choices. Back then they didn't have choice. Abigail was married to Nabal, and she didn't have anything that she could do that was legal that would allow her to break that. She didn't have all of that. And while on one hand, there was a lot of those situations that kind of situation that's not the best. There were some things like this. The good that could come with it is because they could, there was no, we're just getting out and taking the easy way out. If they had a problem with their husband, they'd try and do the best they could to help fix the problems and be a good influence. And it's kind of the situation that we're in the world physically. We're in one way married to the world, living here, having a body and a life and living here. And so, and there's nothing really that we can do ourselves to take the quick way out. That's not the way it works until the world decides, the Lord decides really that it's time for us to go, or that would be, as it would seem, the world is done with us and divorces us. You might call that one. We're here, and all we can do is try and help fix the problems and be a good influence. And so there's a lot of people take the other route, which is they're allow themselves to be influenced by the world they're married to and become married to it in every sense. And so you've got to be careful about that. You've got to watch out for that indeed, as it would be. Another way, we go look into things that the me gets to us, You look over in Proverbs. Proverbs 18. Proverbs 18 verse 1 says, "For desire a man, having separated himself, seeks and intermeddles with all wisdom." Now, does anybody have the ESV translation of that?
Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. Breaks out against all sound good.
You isolate yourself. Why would you, there's talk about it, you separate yourself from people that you don't want to be around for a reason of you don't want their, actions influencing you. For somebody to completely isolate themselves from the world, they're not really seeking their own good in that, because they're giving up on the ability, number one, to influence people, to teach people. They're giving up on all of that just to focus on themselves. And so it's kind of a thing like that. There is a such thing as pulling back too far. There's a way we're supposed to influence the world. Kind of like at work, you're supposed to be able to be a good influence to those you're around all the time, and it's hard to be a good influence to the guys at work. Maybe if you avoid them whenever possible, and you don't ever actually say anything to them. You don't ever try to correct any issues that you see, or offer any advice, or be helpful, or any of that stuff. If you back up into your shell, which I've done that a lot at work, there's been times, there's been such common knowledge at the shop, I have no idea what's going on. But I'll just bury myself in my work. I don't want to have to deal with it. The problem is, all that stuff has negative influences on people. I'm in a position to help it. Why am I not doing that? Why am I not out there teaching guys to be better, to do better? And that kind of thing. And so, there's a certain point. If guys are out doing things that you're not supposed to do, you obviously can't join in on it. Some guys sit around a great time telling dirty jokes and stuff, they get the point if you make sure when they start telling those jokes that you kind of walk away, find something else to be around. But to just completely ignore everything, to isolate yourself, you're just seeking comfort of the excuse that I didn't know anything was going on. I didn't know there was a problem. I don't have to deal with it, but I don't know it's there. How could I possibly know? I was so busy working. And then you let things go, and it causes problems for other people. And you have to be careful about that. See too much of me, that situation is a lot of trouble to deal with. I don't know how to deal with it, so I'm just going to go do something else. I don't really know enough about it to do anything. Well, see, there's the thing. We're not always going to know what's going on with somebody else. We're not always going to be obvious all of the problems they have, or if they need help or anything else. And a lot of times, we just kind of skip the obvious. We can always just go and ask. I don't know how to help that guy. Well, go up to him. Hey, I noticed it seems like you're having a hard time with something. Is there anything I can do to help? Even if it's just to listen. It's always good help. But instead, the me that wants everything to be smooth and not awkward, that doesn't want to trip up and fall when trying to help somebody else, and you just kind of self-isolate. Well, then what are you doing? Who are you helping? And it happens. There are groups, there are churches that die out because they're not reaching the community. And they're not reaching the community because the members the opinion is, we talk about it, we preach the word at the building every week. We put out on Facebook invitations to gospel meeting, and there we go. But if the members never actually go out and talk to anybody about it, and if the members never actually do any work on their own trying to convince people to obey the gospel, well, they'll get older, and they won't influence anybody new. And slowly the congregation will just die out. I've seen it happen, seen the results. I know most everyone here probably has. A city on a light can't be hid. You're the salt of the world. If you lose your savor, if you're not used for salting, what are you good for? You know, if you got some salt that you use for cooking, what else do you use it for around the house? You know, the funny thing about that is, up north, obviously, they toss it on the roads to melt ice. The only other thing it's good for is we toss out and trod underfoot. I'm literal on that, but not exactly what the Lord meant. It's pretty much it. It's kind of useless and no better than the dirt, than everything else that it's separated from that we generally use it for. So, you know, that isolation, that's just me seeking the self-interest of, well, me. And that's more the emotional self-interest, not the physical thing. And that's an issue in and of itself. The next one being probably, let's say, two different verses. It says verses here in Philippians, chapter 2. Got to get around this, right? We look in Philippians 2, starting in verse 3. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. What do you mean? It's not telling us to be a busybody here, is it? What's it saying? It's saying, act like Christ. Look at the next few verses. One who was equal with God. He was as above us as you could possibly be above us. He said, you know what? These people need some help. And even though it's going to make me lower than everything that I've ever had and ever seen, even though it's going to take extra work on my part, and even though it's going to be bad for me in the short term, I'm going to go help them. I'm going to do what's got to be done. That's the point again and again he tried to make. If he was willing to give himself for us, and anything you can check off, I'm afraid to go help this person because of this. I'm afraid to go out and try to influence people because of this. Everything that you think that you could possibly lose, we make excuses for it. We go out to try to do good for others. Christ lost and gave up. And did it knowing that he would lose every single bit of it. And he would go through all of that beforehand. And he didn't do it just for the ones that wanted God but just didn't know how to come to him. He didn't do it just for all of those that were generally good people. He did it for the chance for all of those that were the worst of the worst might still be able to see and be saved. So me, am I going to be selfish? No, that guy's not worth it. I get that one line. It's a thing that I do sometimes. You start talking to someone and they'll talk about a religious affiliation or mention, a place they go or what they really think about religion as far as maybe perhaps not believing much or something like that, and immediately get the idea of, look, can't spend too much time on this one. It's not very likely, judging by previous experience of getting results. How callous is that? How bad is that? Think about it, to judge anybody by somebody else that's come before in our experience. Well, if God did that, then He would have just judged everybody in the future. Eventually, they're just all going to fall apart again, and I'm going to destroy the world, so I might as well just do it completely at the time of the flood instead of sparing everybody, sparing Noah and allowing the world to be rebuilt. If God thought like that, none of us would have stood a chance. So once again, that emotional to me is tied to this world, it's tied to the feelings of myself and the feeling of, I don't want to feel like a failure maybe. I don't want to put myself out there. All the hard work's already been done. That's the other point of that. Jesus already came and did all of this for us. We got the light burden, not the heavy one. We just have to be willing to do the work. And towards the end of the chapter, he's talking about sending Timothy to them. He said, verse 19, I trust in the Lord Jesus to send Timothy shortly to you. I may also be a good comfort when I know your state. For I have no man like-minded who will naturally care for your state. Why? Because everybody seeks their own, not the things that are Jesus Christ. And still, even the ones that, seek the thing that are the Lord's, they do them in a way that's self-serving or self-serving gain. So great care has to be taken. Walk circumspectly. Why? Because we don't want to wind up like that. We don't want to fall into the trap. It's very easy to fall in and very hard to get back out of. Because the world, in case we haven't noticed, is very good at playing to our egos and our wants and our thoughts and all of that. Push me forward. Push me that wants these people to accept me, so maybe I've got to bend some things that I know are right so they will. And that's how you get people preaching things that God said are an abomination. Things that He hates, but they'll preach them from the pulpit. That's how you get folks, they'll be ever so subtle with their twistings instead of, saying something along the lines of, this is a sin. Stealing is a sin. These are sinners. Instead, what they'll say is, a statement, they'll take a statement that everybody agrees with, like, stealing is horrible. They'll turn around and say, well, all thieves are horrible. I mean, they steal, come on, what else can they do? And you get those same actions piled on to any other type of sin you can think of. The homosexuality such as in the news these days, all through anything else. And so by putting the wrong sentiment to it, turning it against people rather than against actions, turn people against the Lord. Isn't that what Peter says there in 2 Peter when he talks about there will be those they come after, they twist the Lord's words, they lead people away, and because of them, many will speak ill of the truth. Because they want to let their own anger twist it. It's me, because it's this. They seem to forget at one point in time they were those same sinners in some way or another. Did that make them horrible or just somebody that needed to change? We got to be careful with inserting those opinions in. I think we got time for one more small point. Here, 5 minutes left. 2 Timothy, chapter 3. Paul talks about a few things. I wanted to note this because I was young and horribly guilty of these things at one point in time, and I'm still horribly guilty of these things at some points in time without thinking about it. We read these and you get this list of things that people do, of sins that people do, and you know, Paul, he wants them all in together. These are all these things that people do that will keep them out of the kingdom of heaven, and it doesn't matter if it's murdering or lying, they're both in there together. To get you to see that, you know, you can't just sit here and say, well, this is worse than this. Yeah, to me on earth, murdering is an earthly mean. Murdering is a lot worse than lying or stealing or anything else, because that's it. You know, and if the guy doesn't have an eternal soul, that's it. He's gone. That's it. There's no more for him. You took away everything. And well, that's why we legislate. That's why logically we put out, well, no, this is not as bad as that. When you think about it in terms of the spiritual, especially in terms of yourself, because we use that to rationalize, well, you know, I'm not a murderer, so this isn't really all that bad. It's not killing you all that much. It's killing you just as much. And the ones I wanted to bring attention to a little bit, and the ones that have bugged me a lot over the years have gotten to me, here in 2 Timothy 3, looking verse 2, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. And some of these, here in verse 3, let's see, I think another good one was the ESV. Justin, you had the ESV, don't you? What does verse 3 say?
Heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, and not loving good. For verse 3.
Heartless, without self-control. Suddenly we start thinking about that a little bit differently. Disobedient parents, unthankful. Those that are ungrateful, another one I've seen put to it. You know, it makes me think back to when I was younger. Somebody gives you something. They give you something that's supposed to help you. So what do you do with it? You set it to the side and never use it. And that's a good way to show your thankfulness. You let it get destroyed, let it get damaged, let it fall apart. You know, this kind of thing applies to a lot of things. You think, well, okay, maybe that's somebody gave me a fishing rod, so I'd be able to go fishing, and I left it outside, it got all ruined. Well, it's kind of the same way, but here, you know, that's wrong in and of itself. We're treating gifts like they're garbage, but if we think about it, we're given a great gift. You know, the gift of God, the gift that Jesus has given us, the ability to be forgiven, to be Christians. This way to be ungrateful. Leave it outside. Let it get ruined. Basically. Don't do anything to take care of it. Don't do anything to improve it. Don't do anything to use it to make you better. You know, I've still got books on my shelf, and somebody goes, hey, this is a good read. Might help you a lot, and I still haven't opened those books. How is that helping me? How is that showing my thankfulness that they were able to do? They did something for me that they thought would help me. And so it is the same with God. You know, if we're not studying and growing, if we're letting me and I'm tired, and I just don't feel great, and some days we're tired, some days we don't feel great. What happens when it's 2 months in a row of really being tired and not feeling great? What happens if we stretch that out to a couple of years of I just really haven't had the time? It's no better than leaving a fishing rod or a tool set or a lawnmower or anything else outside and just leaving it out in the field and letting it rot and fall to pieces. That's all the time we've got for class. Thanks everybody for the comments, and we're willing to be able to pick up, I believe, Darren's got a